Hello, my name is Scott Galloway, and I'm the Chief of Police at the Lafayette Police Department. Welcome to our June monthly recap. So we had two shooting incidents in the month of June. One was a shooting with injury, and one was a shooting without injury. We track these numbers, and they're very critical to pay attention to. The shooting with injury was a domestic violence situation, and we made an arrest in that situation, and the arrest was for attempted murder and amongst other charges. The victim, when we got to that victim, was in very critical condition, and thanks to the officer's response, she has survived and able to give a statement, and we hope that case goes to court and is resolved successfully. The second shooting was at a home at 1820 Wilson Street. This was a home that got shot, and this was a targeted shooting. So keep in mind as we talk about these incidents, targeted shootings are when people know each other, and that's what we are seeing in Lafayette. Very unsafe, very reckless, but these are targeted shootings. That's an ongoing investigation, and we do have a photograph of the suspects, who we believe are the suspects, and anybody else with information is asked to call LPD on that incident. Again, it's 1820 Wilson Street. We had 4 stabbings this month in June, and these are what we call aggravated assaults. And the first one we'll talk about was at Digby's. It was on June 28th at about 4:30 in the afternoon. We were dispatched to Digby's in reference to a stabbing incident. The victim was eating at Digby's when Chance Shoemaker walked in and started fighting with our victim, and Shoemaker was arrested. The next one was at City Bus on June 27th. That was about 1:30 in the afternoon. Officers responded to the stabbing at the City Bus Center. This was an incident where juveniles were fighting over a previous conflict. Again, we see these things over and over again. People are in conflict, then they turn to aggravated assault. Officers discovered that a 17-year-old was suffering from stab wounds. The 16-year-old suspect was charged with several crimes, including aggravated battery, battery with a deadly weapon, and criminal recklessness with a deadly weapon. Those individuals are 16, 17 years old. They're minors, so their names are not going to be released. We had another stabbing incident at 3314 Pebble Court. Again, this was a domestic situation. It was on June 23rd. A person named Alicia George was located by patrol and arrested with charges for domestic battery and battery with a deadly weapon. And finally, at 1607 Rush Street on June 14th, Austin Coors claimed he had been stabbed by an unidentified male who was robbing him. Coors was taken to the hospital, and the detectives discovered that it is their belief that this was a self-inflicted wound, and Coors was subsequently arrested for charge of possession of controlled substances. So now I want to go over stats, go over our June stats. Again, these are June 2023 comparison to June 2024 comparison. So first I want to talk about firearms seized. This month we seized 42 firearms. That's a 45% increase. It's critically important that our officers are seizing these guns because a lot of times they're owned recklessly, they're stolen, and we need to capture all those guns and make sure we get them out of people's hands who don't need to have them in their hands. So we had 6 robberies in June, and again, when we talk about robberies, a little bit of a definition is a robbery is the forceful taking of an item from somebody else under threat or force. So those, again, are times when people know each other, then they're stealing. That's typically what we see. Shootings were down 33%, so we had 2 shootings like I talked about earlier. Something that I want to comment on when we talk about people's interaction with the police, most times an interaction with the police is a fairly benign, normal situation where you get in a traffic stop, you get a parking issue, you have an accident, you have a theft or a fraud investigation. So when we do stop people, I'll give you the stats here. We made 862 traffic stops in June and issued 195 citations. So that's about 23% of the people who got stopped actually got a ticket. And that's very important to note because our job is not to try to give people tickets and make their insurance rates go up. Our job is to try to change driving behavior. So aggressive behavior, speeding, changing lanes aggressively, those are the kind of things where you'll see yourself getting a ticket. Also during accidents, if you have done something in an accident where you were the cause of the accident. Burglary and theft were down again this month, and 911 calls were down 10%. Moving into our special teams call-outs, this includes our SWAT team, mobile field force, drone teams, CNT teams. These are all a group of trained individuals who resolve critical situations. So on July 2nd, officers arrested Tad Buster, a 26-year-old male, for possession of child sex abuse material, which is a level 5 felony. Was an extensive investigation by the High-Tech Crimes Unit, detectives, Special Victims Unit, and all led from a tip from the National Crime Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We had another call out with Amarian Jones. He was investigated as a potential hostage situation. It resolved itself before the SWAT team got involved, thanks to our CNT officers. And then Thomas Moss, it was a domestic battery, serious violent felon, and he was found with 3 handguns. Internally, Jack Lamberson was released from the FTO program. Technician Maxwell celebrated his 50th-year anniversary. We hosted the Junior Police Academy. They learned all kinds of things from marching to mobile field force techniques, CSI, crime scene investigation, so it's a great time for those kids. Also, we did officer training, so every month we do a 4-hour training block, and these are our critical mandates. This month we did officer mental health, juvenile diversion program, and we had a visitor from Valley Oaks talk about the crisis response team. So looking forward to July, we're going to have National Night Out, which is a really fun time for us. We go to Loeb Stadium, there's an Aviators game, we have games and stuff outside, all kinds of law enforcement and first responders, so it's a fun time for kids and families. 3 to 6, we're going to have street games, and the Aviator game starts at 7 o'clock. You can tune in to 96.5 on Tuesdays at 9:30 for a chance to win 4 free tickets to the game, and we'll also hide them around town, kind of like we did before with the little patches, so you can get a prize, and the prize will be tickets to the game. We also have a Little Caesars fundraiser, which benefits the Greater Lafayette Police Foundation, and that will be going on through the end of July. The foundation is separate from the police department. It's a foundation that helps us with different training, different equipment items, things that we do for the community, so it's great to have them on board, and that's a great fundraiser, so please visit Little Caesars. Your money goes to a great cause. We also opened up a TikTok page, and you can visit us at lafayette.police to see what's going on. It's going to be fun.
Hey, Lafayette! We're on TikTok!
Thanks again for tuning in to our June recap. Again, these are important to get this information out to the public, for officers to see this information. They do a great job, and we love our community.